Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast. I'm Brendan, and this is Braden.
What's up, everyone?
We already know who Braden is, and I am, but we have another special guest today, and this is Zachery Smith.
What's up, everybody?
Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's gonna be fun.
To start us off, can you tell us a little bit about your music background?
Okay. Yeah. So I grew up in East Texas, just kind of playing music with my family. I started off on drums actually, and did that for a few years, and then my dad played guitar, and I was just so just amazed by what the guitar did. And so I started, at a pretty young age. I was about 15, 16 when I started playing, and just really pursued it from there, and really found that while I enjoyed playing drums, guitar is what was really the place that God wanted me to stay for a while. So I started playing guitar with my parents. My dad was an evangelist, and so we would go around different churches. I would play with them, and then I became the lead guitarist for a group called the Crab Family several years ago. Toured with them for a while. My wife and I then got started doing some solo dates on our own, kind of some like acoustic folk kind of music, like Christian acoustic folk. We would kind of take worship songs and church songs and kind of do like this like little Mumford and Sons type vibe with them. And so we did that for a while. Ended up becoming worship pastor at a church called Cornerstone Church down in San Antonio, Texas, and was there for overall about 5-6 years, something like that. And it's a long one. Like, so then I was there playing the guitar on staff and working at the church. Had an offer to be a worship pastor in Alabama, and I took that and was there for a couple of years, really growing and just learning more about the worship pastor side of it, as far as the logistical side and all the things that go with it. Yes, so we ended up going back to Cornerstone, being with them for a while, and loved the church family there. And then in 2020, we moved back to Nashville to be with family here, and I became lead guitar player for the band Unspoken, and I've been playing with those guys ever since then, and love them greatly. We get to do a lot of cool stuff, but yeah, do some session stuff, as far as like overdubs and different things, and so just a little bit of everything.
That's very exciting to hear and share. Brandon, you have anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, you mentioned, of course, doing guitar for Unspoken, and you mentioned about how that's definitely a fun and amazing experience.
Yeah.
What would you say is like one thing that's really stood out from being with those guys, touring around with them, performing? Like, what would be like one standout moment you'd share?
Man, there's so many good ones. I'll say this. One thing that really stands out to me about the band Unspoken is, man, just their dedication, and like they love Jesus so much, and they just truly want to help people and truly want to share the message. So their heart and personality definitely would be the foremost thing that stands out. But yeah, as far as like a specific memory that I've had with the fellows, man, there's a few. I'd say one would be the Toby Mac tour in 21. It was the first big tour that launched after all the COVID shutdowns and stuff. And so, man, it was really cool to go out there and hang out with those artists. And we were out there with, it was us, Toby, Cochran and Company, We Are Messengers, Torm Wells. There was I think it's We Are Messengers. Yeah, there's a few of us out there, Terrian, and man, it was just a blast to get to do this, huge arena tour right after COVID. There was a lot of protocols in place, and there weren't capacity events, but yeah, man, it was fun. It was really, really fun. And I'll say that there was some that we had as many people as we could legally fit in one building. But yeah, it was a blast. A lot of great folks out there.
That's awesome.
That sounds like a great time. So you say you were a worship pastor. What are some of your favorite worship songs? Just curious to hear.
Man, right now I would have to say I love Gratitude by Brandon Lake, and it's just such a powerful song, because how many times do we ourselves get in those places where, like, I praise you again and again, and all I have is this hallelujah, and you realize that in our frailty, like we are so nothing, but still he wants everything that we have, and everything that we have is just loving him. So that song really hits home. Also, there's a song by Leon Timbo called ABBA, and man, that song is it's fire. It's really good. And those aren't super like high worship songs. Of course, there's a lot of fun ones, and I love a lot of different ones. But either one of those two songs, when they come on, like man, it's pulling something out of you for sure.
On the document we shared, we had actually a list of songs we were gonna, and Gratitude was actually one of the songs we had on the list. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, no. Yeah, man, I love that song.
Brad, do you want to add anything off that and everything?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I love worship. Brenda and I both, we've been passionate about it for years. I actually served for a youth pastor and the worship director at my church for a few years back then.
Oh, very cool.
So I love worship. I love seeing how it impacts people through the ministry. Like Gratitude, that's a song that completely blew me away, how it impacted so many people. I saw Brandon like a few weeks back, and I've never seen the crowd get into worship and just start crying, lifting their hands as much as in this song.
Wow.
So how during these songs that are impacting, that's really connecting them to the Savior, connecting them to that heart of worship and that surrender. It was a beautiful thing to see. Yeah. And I'm sure as
man,
worship,
that's cool.
You've seen that over and over. It's just so cool to see it in a new light always.
For sure. Yeah, Brandon's one of those guys I would love to see live for that reason. I mean, the guy's got just a super powerful voice, but like when you listen to it, even in the car going down the road, like you said, you feel the anointing that God's put on his life. So yeah, he's definitely one I would love to see live for sure.
Highly recommend it. Yes,
I haven't seen it either, so. So one of the songs I wrote down, just because we were going to talk a little bit about worship songs and everything while we were talking with you, is "Run to the Father" by Cody Carnes.
Yeah,
I think Matt Mayer originally wrote it. I could be
oh
mistaken.
wow, very cool. Yeah, man, that song that's another one, man. That song, yeah, because I mean at the end, that's what we're supposed to do, is run to him. And yeah, so such a powerful song. And man, I could go on and on about that one as well. But yeah, when we get down to it, when we're going through life circumstances and situations, the enemy's job is to try to distract us, separate us from him first, and there's a whole theological thing behind that about how sin separates us from God and pulls us from him and gets our eyes off of him. But the whole heart of that song is like the one thing that we're supposed to do anytime we need anything, if it's restoration, if it's healing, whatever it is that we're supposed to run to him. And just like the prodigal ran to his father, he knew he messed up. He knew he had less than ideal circumstances, but when he did that, he was restored. So yeah, that song's very powerful.
It is a powerful song, and like I think that whole album is Cody Carnes' best work too. Like they had like "Christ Be Magnified." That's another powerful one off the album.
Oh yeah, man. Cody's great. He's got a lot of good stuff. A funny story about Cody. We were on the plane headed to somewhere. I don't even. Oh, we were doing a fundraiser thing at a Christian school in California, and so we're on the plane, and it's late, in the evening or whatever. Everybody's kind of tired. This guy comes walking down the plane, and I'm a hat guy. I love hats, and I see he's got this hat that says Spiritual World Tour, and of course this was when everybody started to wear masks on planes. And I just kind of I looked at the guy and just kind of pointed his hat and was nodding like, "Yeah, dude, your hat's awesome." And it was funny because he's like kind of nodded, he's like, "Thank you," or whatever. Then he stopped by and saw our lead singer and then pulled down his mask. And I was like, "No way, that's Cody Carnes," So he was super kind and stood there and talked for a bit to us. And I think he was doing some writing stuff with Phil Wickham. And I was like, "Man, can I ditch these guys and go hang out with y'all for a minute?" But it was really cool. Yeah. But yeah, he's great. He's got a lot of good stuff. I like his song too, is this What Freedom Feels Like. Such a like hot, like, kind of church party vibe. So yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah. Speaking of hat guys, I'm a hat guy myself.
Hey, I saw the Buc-ee's. I saw the Buc-ee's first thing, man. I'm from Texas, so anytime we see Buc-ee's, we gotta salute it.
Fred, have you been to Buc-ee's? Just a segue very quick. Fred, have you been to Buc-ee's before?
I have not. No, I see billboards of them like a few miles away, and I've not yet done that journey. But I've heard it's a must.
You need to go.
Yeah, there's nowhere in the Bible that says God is pleased with you going to Bucky's, but there's nowhere that says He's not. So you, you definitely got to go check it out.
I'm from
Oh yeah,
Michigan. We don't have,
definitely.
I'm from Michigan. We don't have Bucky's. So if I can make it to a Bucky's, you can make it to a Bucky's.
Hey, that's true.
That's
One of
awesome.
another song we had is The Blessing. This is a powerful song. You hear it all over. I think this is probably like one of the top 5 worship songs still to this day. Like it's not losing its popularity. Like once it came out, it's just been like on top of the charts forever.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of those songs where it's easy when we ride around listening to music to get kind of burnt out on a certain song. And I heard that song a lot, and it was, man, everybody was playing. It was all over the radio. It was on worship playlist. It was everywhere, and everybody in every church was doing it. And so I kind of became just almost numb to the song relatively quick, and just because everywhere I turned, I heard it, which is a great thing. And man, one day, I can't remember the specific circumstance, if I was singing it somewhere or if I was playing on a worship team and they sang it. But dude, that song hit me like a ton of bricks when I really stopped and listened. Um, because at the end of the day, it's just straight Bible. May His favor be upon you, and just, man, everything about it is such a powerful song. So in that, it's easy for us to hear these songs everywhere and just kind of mentally check the box, like, oh, I already heard this song. But it's something that even after probably 100 times of hearing the
Mhm.
song, you slow down and really listen again, and it just hits you all over again. So yeah, that's a strong one.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I still like I said, it's probably like really popular to this day. You still hear a lot of worship teams play it and everything. So it's
Yeah,
pretty cool that like it came out 2018, 2019, and it still has this popularity, which is why I find it really cool.
absolutely, absolutely.
Brandon, I'm gonna bring up one of the songs you wrote down, and I'm gonna have you start us off. Okay.
Okay.
This song is "Living Hope."
Man, yes, Live in Hope. I think it came out like 2017, 2018, but it's such an amazing song. Phil Wickham is one of the most gifted, anointed songwriters, I think, in our current generation. And Live in Hope was one of his best work, I think, yet. The song is just so impactful. It's more than just a Resurrection Day song, because, like you mentioned, Zach, about how oftentimes we can just be like, okay, we've heard that, we know the story, we've heard the song, but when we actually
Right.
listen to the song, there's so much power into it. There's so much truth and freedom in this song that Jesus really is the living hope, that He's not just a resurrection story that we can cheer for every now and then. He's the hope, the life within us. And it's a beautiful reminder that's just so well done. And of course, Phil Wickham takes it to an extremely new level. And it's still being played in churches. Like, I visited a few churches recently and they were singing the song while many kids were getting baptized. So it's a beautiful thing how the
Yeah.
song has gone beyond what I'm pretty sure Phil imagined it to be. And it really is, I think, one of my top worship songs, at least.
Oh yeah, man. When he hits that line, your buried body began to breathe. It's like, bro, turn up for like this.
Come on.
That's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's the one. And again, to your point there about it being like a Resurrection Sunday kind of vibe, it's one of those things where, um, because of its popularity, it gets played out of that context a lot, which is kind of cool because some songs, especially in a worship pastor position, you have songs like, oh, these are the Resurrection Sunday songs, and these are the Christmas songs and all that. But that's such a that song has such a widespread lyric that yeah, you can sing it any Sunday and it's still just as powerful. And then then when you sing it on a Resurrection Sunday, it's all the more strong. So yeah, great. And to your point, Phil's a great writer.
Mhm.
And not to mention he can sing in the rafters. And I don't know anybody, I don't think, that can sing Phil Wickham songs and Phil Wickham keys. Everybody has to bring him down a little bit. But yeah, man, he's a great writer and singer for sure.
So true. Yeah.
Exactly. And like him and Chris Tomlin are both like really good worship writers. Like Chris Tomlin writes some of
Yeah.
the best songs I know of. Everyone knows a song like Chris Tomlin, even if you don't know who Chris Tomlin. Like if you hear one song, you're like,
Exactly.
there you go. But
Exactly.
we have more songs on the list. We won't go through all of them because it's like 30 songs or whatever. But I'm not gonna go through all of them as much as a conversation. Um, if you could do your own cover of a worship song, what song would you choose?
Man, That's a tough one. I would probably, man, I would probably say "Build My Life." Um, that song is just very, very powerful, and I keep using that word, but it's true. There's so many great songs out there. That's a song that's my sound check song with Unspoken. When we're checking our mics, usually I'll start singing "Build My Life," because just when you something about a guitar, just sitting down with a guitar and that vocal. Um, and that first line, worthy, the whole verse, worthy of every song we will ever sing, all the praise we could ever bring, every breath I live for you. That's what it's all about. And so I would say, short answer, I'll try not to ramble, but yeah, I would say if I had to pick a cover to do, it would be "Build My Life."
And Pat Barrett's another great songwriter. And like I didn't know, like until I saw Pat Barrett last summer, I didn't know he was a part of House Fires until I heard the song. And I'm like, wait, something's not right.
That's awesome.
So like that was really cool. Just like a lot of these songs are powerful. Like if you have the chance to look up any of the worship songs, you can look up like 800,000 playlists on Spotify. These are for our listeners. You can, if you have any song recommendations, any songs we didn't bring up, you can drop them in the comments below and everything. And we like to hear what the audience thinks of these songs and everything as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brad, and you want to say anything else?
Yeah, just I want to ask you one more question, Zach. I know we're kind of running out of time here, but like you said, you've been a worship pastor working with Unspoken, and like you said, the Crab family as well. I was just curious, is there any song that you would say that was like a real turning point in your life that you heard, whether a worship song or a really song that kind of really like you said, hit you like a ton of bricks, but in that moment that changed your life? Because I know so many stories
Yeah.
like that. Just curious about yours.
You know what? Actually, it would probably be "Build My Life."
Mm.
My wife and I were at Pastor Hagee's church out in Cornerstone and worship pastor in there. And a friend of ours in Trussville, Alabama, had us come out and do like a kind of like a workshop with their choir and worship team. And the Graham family, great folks, anointed family. And my buddy Wes was out there, and we were kind of hanging out that night before, and we were just kind of just in this really laid back environment with the choir. And again, you hear these songs and you hear them in different aspects or whatever, and they're cool. But that night, my buddy Wes started playing the song "Build My Life" and just started singing it, and man, you could just feel the whole room just shifted. And I would say that's one that was a moment from there. It's like that song um, definitely stuck with me ever since that day. And it's been one that quickly rose to the point to where, like, if I could cover a song, it would be that one. And I guess that's why. I mean, Wes is an incredibly gifted singer and musician as well. He off the charts. But yeah, it was, man, God's presence really fell in the room that night, and I was just really processing the lyrics of that song. And so yeah, so I would say it would probably be "Build My Life" for sure.
That's a
Wow,
really
I
cool
love that.
song. And that's a really cool, powerful song. We already discussed a little more about it, so we're not going to go more into detail.
Right.
I recommend checking out. Before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to add or talk about before we wrap this up?
Man, I think we covered a lot of it for sure. I think we covered a lot of things, and just I'll say this: I'll leave you with this nugget that God gave me years ago. Um, as worship teams and as musicians and people who go to church, anybody, congregant, anybody, but I would always share this with our worship teams, that we can set out to do anything in a church service or in a worship service. We can set out to as a team, we can set out to make sure we play and sing all the right notes. That may or may not happen. We hope it does, but it may not happen, right? um, we can try to do our best, and God wants us to bring excellence, and there's a whole thing there. But I was talking to our team one night, and God gave me this, and it really stuck. And I try to remind myself of this often, that when worship is the goal, worship is always the outcome. When you show up, and if you're a part of a team and you show up to sing, if the reason you do it is worship, then you will absolutely achieve that goal every single time. When we come into service, even as congregants, if our goal is to hang out with our friends, we may or may not get to hang out. We may or may not achieve the other fleshly goals, if you will, that we have for the day. But when we show up intentionally on worshiping God with these songs and with different songs that the listeners are going to comment, but when we show up listening, with the idea that worship is what I want today, this is what I want to achieve, then that always happens. When worship is the goal, it's always the outcome. And so just challenging everyone and help us to all to remember that when we show up, these songs are awesome and there's great singers and great writers and great arrangements and different ones and covers and all this stuff. But when we sing these songs, don't let them be just the place of, man, this is a fun song or this is a cool song, but let it attach those lyrics to your heart. And when you sing them like you're praying them to the Father, because it has a whole lot deeper meaning when you do that.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
So
and
Yeah, buddy.
and again, thank you for joining us today. I know
Man, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know this is like the most weirdest way to do a podcast episode, but it's just cool because like some people like are more visual. Like I'm more of a visual person, so that's why we do it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I dig
it. But thanks for everyone that tuned in. See you next week, and have a great day, everybody.